The current real estate market trends here in Aspen Valley, Colorado. Here is of August 2014. And we have Christine Pearson, certified appraiser, broker, designer, developer. The list is too long, but Christine has been involved in real estate in the Aspen Valley since the late 60s, and builder, developer, like I said, appraiser, broker, interior designer, and so many things in between. Christine, can you say hello to our audience?
Hello, I'm Christine Pearson.
Nice, Christine. So just, as a reference, the information on the MLS that was sent over, single family homes in the Aspen Valley right now seems to have a good opportunity to buy at the bottom of a market. Is that correct?
Yes, we've seen a trend in the market right now for a lot of interest in the market. I think your property owners are willing to sell, and you see buyers now having confidence come back into today's market in the Aspen Valley. So we've seen an upsurge in sales 2013 and 2014. We're watching the market actually was in a declining, some parts of the valley were still in a declining issue in the mid 2013s, and we're seeing them actually now in the increasing in value. So they're out of a declining and they're in a stable and an increasing market once again.
Okay, good. So we're seeing some return to the marketplace in single family homes. In all price points. Is that entry level as well as, I know entry level in Aspen, 5-6 million in the core, upwards of 89 million for the higher end luxury homes. Is all the inventory bouncing back? All elements?
Yes, it is. The entry level, actually, everybody is trying to get into that entry level that can afford it right now because prices are less than they were at the peak in 2007. We felt the drop in 2010 and 11 in this valley substantially. We're in the mountain area and a resort area. We are actually seeing a trend come back into interest in the marketplace globally in the higher end right now. There's a lot of commercial that's being purchased by large groups and companies because they feel very confident this is a very safe place to put their money. Downtown has seen a huge surge this summer. They say it's the largest upsurge in the commercial industry since 2007 in the high end of the market.
Nice. And
very limited inventory, very limited.
Nice. So what are your the kind of targets that you and I discussed? Obviously core, McLean Flats, Red Mountain, Snowmass. Can you talk a little bit about just Aspen core, its desirability, and the opportunity it holds right now?
Opportunity of homes in the core area, you'll see probably in the 4 to 5 million is probably your medium price range right now. It's all diverse between Victorians to modern to remodels to a lot of different diverse criteria. We're seeing a big demand for that in regards to affordability to middle to upper class buyer, I would say, that is in that price point. Now we're seeing Red Mountain still very high end, and we see a lot of hedge fund, very big investors buying in this area, still investing. And there's only one of a kind of Aspen Mountain, so that's always at the very top and premier. Buttermilk and Highlands are more, I would say, selected for a specialized buyer for location and amenities. So we see that market, a lot of inventory still available and not moving as quickly due to its location.
I remember you and I viewed, we saw some of those very specific, Deca million properties. I think it was listed for 18 million, sold for 10. I think a little over $1,100 a square foot. But those were, some of the reasons developers have issues is because they get too specific or overbuild for an area like Buttermilk, right? Because it's just not as desirable a location as like a Red Mountain is.
Red Mountain's right near the core of town. You look at Aspen Mountain, and it's always been extremely prestigious. All the homes in there are very prestigious, known, world-renowned known people live in that area. So it's very, very high-end due to its location and proximity to the core area. Buttermilk is a ways out of town, so you have a transportation issue. You cannot walk to all the amenities. You can ski Buttermilk Mountain, and there is a small golf course. But still, it's outside of town, so it's not really core area. So it's not urban, it's more suburban. And they built very, very large homes back in the high times, and they built very specific with very limited architectural use, etc., for a very specialized buyer. So it's very difficult to sell a lot of those properties now because they're not the new trend. The new trend is more green and a different type of criteria and less square footage.
So moving forward, obviously, with your knowledge as a buyer and a seller, an investor, an appraiser, and a broker, you're just very aware of the areas in which you're investing in, such as, Buttermilk has a high end. I mean, what is that high end? Maybe 5 or 6 million, not 20 million, apparently, versus Red Mountain, you should build to the high end, correct? Upwards of $20 million. And in town, you probably want to stay within that entry-level housing with the small lots and the smaller square footage. Is that correct?
Correct. But Buttermilk, you'll see, actually do have some $22 million properties out there right now currently for sale. And there again, they're very, very large properties that were built back in the high times when that was the trend. And therefore, they're on larger acreages, and that's why they support that value, because they're FAR, which is their FAR. What they can do square footage is different than within the city limits. So that's very regulated. That started regulation in 2007. City changed a lot of dynamics in how many square feet you could have above grade and how many you could have below grade. So a lot of people started digging out and going down under grade to be able to facilitate that square footage. So the building codes changed, which changed the dynamics of what you could build and where you could build. Now, McLean Flats you can build. It's more not rural. It's sort of rural, urban, and it actually has larger acreages, actually panoramic views, sweeping views of all the mountains, and absolutely beautiful. Zoned in with a lot of agricultural and large ranches, which gives you a different dynamic and a different feel. There's a lot of people with horses in that area, and same thing with Starwood. Starwood has large lots, gated community, amenities, overbuilt back in the 2007 ranges. Again, a lot of inventory and older homes that started building back in the 1970s that are now being purchased and remodeled.
Well, with your reviews here, 118 pending and sold listings out of 156 active single-family homes in the Aspen area, which shows, the 24 pending show about a 30-day absorption, about a 6-month inventory. Would you say that that's true?
Absolutely. Right now, Aspen is in a really high time. We started seeing the trend up at the end of 2013 for tax purposes. We saw one of the largest months ever in history of sales due to the fact of that trend coming in. 2014 slowed a little bit. We saw a surge again in the market in April and May this year, and it has been very healthy, very strong, and our days on market have lessened. They used to be, I would say 2 years ago, we were over a year on market. Now we're seeing a lot less days on market. Cash buyers come in, and our inventory actually being depleted.
Excellent. So, and then just kind of your price per square foot. You and I were discussing, about 1,200 to 1,600 seems to be kind of the median. And I know generalizing, especially for these different neighborhoods, you don't like to do, but just to give a kind of a broad perspective for people who don't know the market here, 12 to 1,600 is probably a good target per square foot for the older product, or the properties have been maybe partially renovated or maybe even fully renovated, just not to a high, kind of a high standard. Would you say that's correct?
That is correct. Your highest level and standard is just over the top, and it varies, per client and per person who's building an architect, et cetera. And they can be, they can vary in values way, way beyond what the norm is or what the medium is. And then also snowmass. I didn't mention snowmass. Snowmass right now, we're seeing a 50% reduction in value and a good buy in the Snowmass Village area due to the base village had gone bankrupt. And we see a big hotel out there that was built that's brought back, and they brought back buyers. Still a very good opportunity to buy at a very good value that we see that as soon as they resolve their political issues in the area and get their base village built, that we'll see values really pop back in as well.
So some deep discounts up there right now, but I know you put in an offer just recently up there as, at that 50% off price point. Do you see that going depressing anymore, or do you see that trend at the bottom, and do you think that opportunity is on its way up? Where do you see it?
It's already hit the bottom. It hit the bottom 2 to 3 years ago, and it's actually on its way back up right now. It's still really good deals, but we're seeing a real price increase and a lot of inventory being purchased due to that fact. And
Good.
hypothetically, they know what's coming. We have a new market in the area that's brought in a lot of good inventory that brings your shoppers and your buyers and your shopping back to the marketplace, and a lot of people back to the village as well.
Nice. So that is, I mean, just a lot of opportunity, it seems, between your Red Mountain, McLean Flats, to your core Aspen, to your Snowmass properties, and those are kind of the four that you would focus on, not your Buttermilks, not your Highlands or your Old Snowmass, nothing like that. Roaring Fork Valley, would you say, those are your primary markets that you would recommend investors to get involved in?
I would recommend definitely core area if you can find anything to buy, a lot or an old property to rehab. I would recommend Red Mountain always. It's always extremely prestigious and will remain that, very unique. And Highlands and Buttermilk are overbuilt. They did a lot of building and they still have a lot of inventory. McLean Flats has a lot of room there again for expansion, I think, and for building. Starwood, I would, only unless you got a really good deal to remodel something, would I invest in that area. There's a lot of inventory.
Just too specific.
And, yeah, and Snowmass is a great, anywhere in Snowmass Village I think is a great buy. And I think Old Snowmass is too far. It's more rural, and it's definitely, it's a risky area to put any money into right now.
I got you. So just to expand upon Red Mountain, we have that project we've been working on for a little over a year now. And that the subject property, as we were discussing at 979 Red Mountain, was pre-sold. And they said that, I mean, last year I know there was a lot of arguments about if they were going to be able to get their $2,600 a square foot value out of that. And it did. It looks like it's sold for full price. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that, its appeal as a modern design, and why that pre-sold.
The reason why that pre-sold is I believe there is not a lot of inventory with that specific brand new house design on Red Mountain right now. There is inventory, but they're older homes, very, very nice homes built, with Italian feeling. They have all kinds of European home, kind of the old stone, the old wood look as well. So you have a varied variety of architectural design and components on Red Mountain. I feel that had a specific buyer that probably had been looking for some time, had a relationship with a local broker, and said, the minute something comes up on Red Mountain with this type of design, I will buy it, because these are cash buyers.
So there's a good market up there, and you only see it obviously becoming stronger as the years go on, right? With just the lack of new inventory, and of course the new product, but also I think there's more people looking in Aspen now because they do understand that it is a niche market, that it does hold its value through these trending times. Aspen will always be that unique place to invest. Is that
yes,
correct? I mean,
absolutely.
You see this as a strong marketplace to invest in.
Absolutely. Red Mountain has been very prestigious since the 70s. It was picked out by Lyndon Blue, actually, way back in the early 70s, who was a developer. And he started developing Red Mountain knowing its just exposure and its views and its panoramic sweeping views of the valley and its location. And it has remained the most prestigious area in Aspen ever since. And it will remain because there's very limited land and very limited amount of houses available in that area. And we do have global buyers from all over the world that do buy in that marketplace.
Excellent. So you would recommend the Red Mountain project? Red Mountain.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Excellent. And then just to kind of touch base on the entry level market here in Aspen, I know that there is some places available, as we've discussed, at under $1,000 a square foot, or being able to buy in a lot in Aspen proper in the core for about $2 million. I know we can build for about $1 million, and you feel pretty confident that target market in Aspen core area is between 5 and 7 million.
Anywhere between, I would say, between your 4 and 7 million. But we do have $10 million houses downtown, as well as $12 million houses. It depends on the lot, the location, and the style of the home. It'll always remain very stable. It's It's purchased by the highest end buyer, I believe, in the world.